Did you see the story about what the Big 12 is doing?
This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy, and yet it's not surprising because everything's about money.
They are on the brink of selling their naming rights.
The naming rights to the conference.
The naming rights to the conference.
To no longer be called the Big 12 Conference, but to be called something else.
Yes. Now, I remember, and we'll get to that in a minute. I remember way back in the day when Comerica Park, we got word it had a corporate sponsor and it was being called Comerica Park. And I worked for a guy named Ray Nelson. Ray Nelson was like one of my favorite hard asses of all time. He was, it's going to be my way. And that was it. And yet he had a soft side to him. And I loved Ray Nelson. And Ray Nelson called me into the office the day that was announced. He says, "You're not calling it Comerica Park." And I said, "Well, that's what it's called. And he said, "Yeah, you're not calling it Comerica Park." And I said, "Why not?" And he goes, "What's Comerica paying us?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, "Then why should we call it Comerica Park? If they want to pay us, we'll call it Comerica Park." It didn't last very long because I just, it was pretty clear that everybody was referring it to Comerica Park, but it was corporate sponsorship, right? Well, now, and we kind of have gotten used to it. We've gotten used to the stadiums being called things. How about an entire conference being called a corporate name? Because that's what the Big 12 is about to do. And according to Brett McMurphy, Allstate is in discussion with the naming rights worth up to $50 million a year to change the league's name. The top candidate for the name of the conference, if Allstate gets the naming rights, the Big 12 will no longer be called the Big 12. They'll be named the Allstate 12. This is not a story in The Onion. This is not an April Fool's joke. They are going to call the entire conference the Allstate 12. And I'm like, are we so, I have the Ray Nelson feeling. I'm not calling it that. I'm still going to call it the Big 12.
We probably will. I have no problem saying Comerica Park, but I can imagine I'd rather call it the Big 12.
Right?
Because I can associate it. I know what it is. Right?
Yep. And everybody will know what you're talking about.
At least with Comerica Park, it was a brand new stadium.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, this is not the brand new conference. It's the same conference. They've lost some, they've added to it, but it's not like we sprang out of nowhere and started it. No. So I understand. I wonder if this is going to start a war with insurance companies. Is the Big Ten going to become the State Farm 10/18? I
mean, so here's the deal, too. Again, I kind of asked the question, what do we get out of this? We get nothing. And I'm starting to side with Ray Nelson. I do not want to call it the Allstate 12. But also, I mean, how pissed would you be if the Big Ten does this? Please don't do this, Big Ten. I know you're going to if the Big 12 pulls it off. The SEC's naming rights and the Big Ten's naming rights should fetch more money because of the conference's profile.
Well, it just means more. Would I be? You know what? I think I'm beyond the level of getting pissed about the money grabs, and this is an obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
And where does the money go? Somehow it's going to get siphoned back and filtered out and distributed to the players. I would assume that this is another way with NIL and making sure that they get players and trying to get back to some semblance of order, even though the conference names are totally bastardized. I just don't care.
Is there any way, though, that you're going to call the Big Ten something other than the Big Ten?
No, I don't think that's likely at all.
I mean, Brett Yormark is the commissioner of the Big 12. He's probably this close to signing a deal to get an Allstate tattoo on the small of his back for $50 million that gets spread out amongst the conference.
Wow.
Get a tramp stamp?
Yeah, you're going on a tramp stamp.
Yes.
Well, what's
the first make money?
Who's the first commissioner to get the tribal armband tattoo?
Right. That's right. State Farm and a tribal armband tattoo around the bicep.
Yeah.
But let me take it to the next level. Can you see a university actually selling its naming rights? If Allstate, the Allstate Utes. It's going to happen.
I hope not. I hope it doesn't get to that. I mean, that's an extreme.
No kidding. So
Yeah.
is selling the naming rights to the freaking conference.
But conferences, I get it. It's about making money. The schools are different because you're looking at an athletic part when really the schools are they're the learning institutions beyond that.
Just watch. It shouldn't surprise you if it happens. It should not.
Bruno Mars, you tell me, don't believe me, just watch?
That's what I'm saying.
I really hope not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, look, I'm not, I want you to think that I'm comfortable with it. I'm just at a point where I'm so disgusted with college athletics right now.
I circle back. The off-season news, the Sunday through Friday news drives me crazy. Saturday's coming, I'm all in.
Can't wait. What do we got, like 80 days? Come on.
Allstate 12. 248-539-9797.
Is the SEC going to be the Dr. Pepper conference?
It feels like,
Chick-fil-A?
yeah, Dr. Pepper is all in on the SEC. So, yeah, I could totally see the Dr. Pepper conference. It would totally be it. Right?
Well, for the SEC, I mean, imagine how much money the SEC would be saying, well, you want us to change the name? You're really going to have to pony up.
No kidding.
Here comes $1 billion deal.
Mm-hmm.
Naming rights.